Now in the previous video we have done 5 questions of PTU May 2019. Now in this video we will be doing the next 5. The full come on to 6th question, write about the role of external memories. In the class we have learned that we were having two types of memory, internal one and external one. Internal one on chip present and external were those memory that were off chip. So we were required external memories when internal memories were not sufficient, for the user to perform any operation. No? That for that purpose we were requiring the external memory. Now what is the role of these external memories? First of all, we can store our data separately from the main memory, and for external memories we are not required to open our system. Means we are not required to change the system or to open the whole system. We can just configure or attach to it. Okay, so now only those data or those things are stored in the external memory which are very much less accessed by the application. Now we can have the examples of this can be the we were having hard disk, USB. All these are the types of the external memory that are externally connected to the system. Okay, these are not on, like if in the case of processor, these are not present on chip, and if we talk about our system, these are not present on like in a laptop or computer. These are not inbuilt. We are externally connecting to it. So hopefully you must know what is actually external memory. Now we move on to our next question. What is the concept of synchronous serial communication? First of all, discussing the synchronous, we will discuss first about serial communication. What is actually basically serial communication is that in which we are transferring one bit at a time. Suppose if we need to transfer 8 bits, then at the first we will be transferring one bit, then after that another one, then another one, and then another one. So if we are transferring one bit at a time, so for transferring the data we will be requiring only one line. Second one will be for the grounding purpose, and third one is for the clock. Now for basically in the serial we are not transmitting or receiving all the bits at once. One by one we are getting or receiving the bits. Now what is synchronous serial communication is that in which instead of using start or stop bits, we are using the clock signal, and this clock signal is common for the receiver and as well as for the transmitter, and this clock signal indicates that when our bit is being received or transmitted. Okay, so you must what now, but the serial communication is that in which we are transferring or receiving one bit at a time. Synchronous means that we are using the clock signal, and that clock signal is common for the transmitter also and for the receiver and also. So in this communication our data is going at a continuous stream. It is not breaking the stream, it is going at a constant rate continuously. So in this no start or stop bits are required, so we can say that more information is shared, because we are not sending any start or stop bit, we are sending only those bits which are required. After that we are sending not anything. For that, for getting whether a bit is transmitted or received, for that purpose we are having the clock signal. So hopefully you must got the concept of synchronous serial communication. Now we move on to discuss the importance of interrupts in process. So now what is basically an interrupt? We have discussed in the class also. Whenever any microprocessor is doing any task, and for some moment it halts that task, and then some external condition is coming, some external work is coming, that is known as the interrupt. Okay, so it is an event or a signal that is requesting the processor to stop the task which you are doing, and please execute my task. Now why the interrupts are there? Now if we are not having the interrupt, then the user have to wait a number of time. When the processor will get free, then only it can perform the task. But when we are having interrupt, it will send the signal, that processor, please stop, please perform my task, and then after that you will continue with it. For that purpose we are having interrupt. Means our process, and another thing is that the processor will not have to check again and again that whether there is any other task or not. Whenever it will get the signal, at that time it will stop. At that time it will stop, it will execute the interrupt, and again will go back to its task. Okay, hopefully you will understood this thing also. Now we are moving towards what is clock generator. Now in the previous question we have read in the synchronous and serial communication, we have read one word, clock signal. Now these clock signals are generated by clock generator. These are for processor and peripherals, means the clock signals which are helping for the communication, those are generated by the clock generator. Now these clock, what actually this clock generator is doing, that it is generating the clock signal. It now, what is the purpose of this clock generator? It generates the clock signal and it will help the devices to communicate properly, means only this clock generator will tell whether our bit is being sent and whether our bit is being transmitted or not. Now clock, it is a type of a circuit which is producing a continuous synchronous, it is actually producing a electrical signal, that is for timing purposes. We can say that at the time it is helping us for getting a synchronization, that at the time when the data is sent, at the same time that data should be received. For that purpose we are having clock signals, and these clock signals are produced by clock generators. Therefore clock generators are often it is a necessary component. It is a necessary component for many devices, so that we can ensure that all our devices are working properly. So that purpose we are having the clock generator. Now we move on towards another one, that is discuss the need of 8259 programmable interrupt controller. Basically 8259 PIC is in the last video also we have discussed what was programmable interrupt controller. It is actually managing the interrupts that are being sent to any processor 8085 or 8086. But basically what's the idea behind is that a programmable interrupt controller, whenever number of interrupts are sent to the processor, acting as a multiplexer, it combine all those interrupts and it combine all those interrupts into a single interrupt that further sends to a processor. What actually do now, what was the thing was, the question is why it was needed. Because suppose if we take the example of 8085 have only 5 lines for communication, but if more number of input output devices need to transfer the data, more than 5, then for that purpose we are having, means it is used when several input output devices need to transfer data, when we are having more devices are required to transfer the data. For that purpose we require the programmable interrupt controller. Now what it doing is, it is getting all the interrupts, it will be combining it and then using the interrupt priority resolver one by one, all the interrupts will be serviced. So our question was need. The need is that when the number of input output devices are more than the interrupt lines. You can take the example of 8085, that 8085 has only 5 interrupt lines, but if we required more than 5 input output devices to transfer the data, for that purpose we required the 8259 PIC. So in this video and then the previous one we have discussed only the section A of May 2019, and now in the next video we will be discussing the section B also, that is a long question also, we will be discussing one by one. So I request all the students that before giving your exams you should go through all of your papers, and we will one by one we will discussing all the papers also. So these were all about the section A. Thank you.